Day 24. To know His goodness. The Lord is good to those who wait for Him, to the soul who seeks Him. Lamentations 3:25. Scripture proclaims the goodness of God. No one is good but one, that is God. Matthew 19:17. Oh, how great is your goodness, which you have laid up for those who fear you, which you have prepared for those who trust in you. Psalm 31:19. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Psalm 34:8. This is the true way of entering into and rejoicing in the goodness of God, waiting on Him. The Lord is good, even when His children do not know it, for they do not wait in quietness for Him to reveal it. But to those who persevere in waiting, whose souls do wait, it will come true. One might think that those who are made to wait a long time would doubt the goodness of God. But that only happens when they do not wait, but grow impatient. The truly waiting ones will say, "The Lord is good to those who wait for Him." If you would truly like to know the goodness of God, then commit yourself more than ever to a life of waiting on Him. When we first enter the school of waiting on God, our primary focus is on the blessing that we seek. But God graciously uses our needs and desires to help educate us to look for something higher than we were thinking. We were seeking gifts. He, the giver, longs to give Himself and to satisfy the soul with His goodness. It is for this very reason that He often withholds the gifts and makes the time of waiting so long. He is always seeking to win the heart of His child. He desires that we should not only say when we receive the gift, "How good is God?" but that long before the gift comes, and even if it never comes, we should always say, "It is good that one should hope and wait quietly. The Lord is good to those who wait for Him." What a blessed life the life of waiting then becomes. The continual worship of faith, adoring and trusting His goodness. As the soul learns its secret, every act or exercise of waiting just becomes a quiet entering into the goodness of God, to let it do its blessed work and satisfy our every need. And every experience of God's goodness gives the work of waiting new attractiveness. Instead of only taking refuge in time of need, there comes a great longing to wait continually and all the day. No matter what duties and engagements occupy the time and the mind, the soul gets more familiar with the secret art of always waiting. Waiting becomes the habit and disposition, the very second nature and breath of the soul. Are you beginning to see that waiting is not one among many Christian virtues to be practiced from time to time, but that it expresses the disposition which lies at the very root of the Christian life? It gives a higher value and a new power to our prayer and worship, to our faith and surrender, because it links us in unalterable dependence to God Himself. And it gives us the unbroken enjoyment of the goodness of God. The Lord is good to those who wait for Him. Let me urge you once again to take the time to cultivate this so much needed element of the Christian life. We get too much of religion secondhand from the teaching of others. That teaching has great value if it leads us to God Himself, even as the preaching of John the Baptist directed his disciples away from himself to the living Christ. What our faith needs is more of God. Many of us are too much occupied with our work. As with Martha, the very service we want to render the Master separates us from Him. It is neither pleasing to Him nor profitable to ourselves. The more work we do, the more we need to wait on God. Doing God's will instead of being exhausting would then become our meat and drink, our nourishment and refreshment. The Lord is good to those who wait for him. How good, no one can tell, but those who prove it by waiting on him. My soul, wait only on God.